That's cool.
Not a problem. And let's start with what questions you have.
The first question, did you get the email I sent of that the bid that we're gonna try to work on? I think I sent it to Angela and you, I think Monday.
I got one Monday at 3:52 p.m.
Yeah, that probably
This one?
sounds about right. Let's see.
No, let me check she probably sent it to me right after you would. No, that's today's email. Let me check my email from her on Monday. Or if you want to just resend it real quick.
Okay, let me get on there real quick, buddy. Give me 1 second there.
Take your time.
Get on up on Hello for Space. My friend is a procurement officer up there, and he was nice enough to send me some stuff. So I'm like, oh geez, so hopefully we're gonna get some bids up there going.
Nice. Well, as long as you can do business with friends and associates, and there's nothing illegal about that, as long as no monies are exchanged, or don't pay for his dinner, stupid stuff like that. No one's going to question this. I mean, seriously, no one will ever question it until you win the contract and one of your competitors that bid on it gets pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah. No worries. Okay.
So, yeah, that's fine.
This is an NSN contract. Now, I want you to notice on NSNs, the procurement history never, ever makes sense. In many cases, in this case, it's actually going to make sense. It's going to make a liar of me. But in many cases, you're going to see that higher quantities, sometimes they pay more for higher quantities, which doesn't make sense because in the grand scheme of things, excuse me,
oh, it's all good.
for a lower quantity, you'd pay more, supply and demand. And for a higher quantity, you'd get a discount. In this case, that's actually running true. So when they only bought 3, they paid $1,400 a piece, which still kind of doesn't make sense at all. When they bought 4, they paid $1,100 a piece, but when they bought 15, they only paid $200.
Oh, that's what that means. Is that the one that means this is what they've paid for in the past?
Yes, sir. This is a procurement history. Now, this specifically is a procurement history probably for just this purchasing agent. Not necessarily for that agency, for his or her agency, or for any of the other purchasing agents that he or she works with. I'm just going to say he, so I don't have to say he and she because politically correct, blah, blah, blah. These are the cage codes. These are the people who actually supplied this. So you can look up 72914 or 0ZTJ5 and see the actual supplier who provided
how do I look those up?
You would go to, the best way to do it is don't even bother going to SAM, because SAM it's a system that they're migrating everything over into. They're 14 old systems are being migrated into SAM. They're supposed to be on phase 4. They're still on phase 1. So if you search in SAM, you're going to have problems. There's going to be issues. It's going to glitch. And to search in SAM, you literally have to click 5 different sections, log in, blah, blah, blah. And it's a huge pain in the keystroke. The best thing to do is go to, let me show you.
Okay.
Best thing to do is go to DSBS. Excuse me. I'm sorry. No. Go to cage.delay.mil. The system used to be called BINCS. This is the Defense Logistics Agency's database. All right. So the DLA are the guys that are pretty much in charge of everything, military-wise. DOD, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, the Defense Logistics Agency, and the DOD. I don't know who's actually above what, but they all work together, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The DLA search engine, it's cage.dla.mil. Even if someone if they opt out of the public search in SAM, and you can opt out of the public search in SAM and not be found publicly. Only purchasing agents can find you, and they have to log in to do it. But even if you opt out of the public search in SAM, which I don't suggest, it's the dumbest idea ever, because you still show up in the DLA search engine regardless if you opt out or not. And people People opt out of the public search because they don't want telemarketers calling them and trying to sell them stuff. I understand that. But what they don't know is that regardless if they opt out in SAM, they still show up in DLA's database regardless. So this is where the telemarketers go to get your information to sell you stuff, or try and sell you stuff. And most of it you don't need. Okay. But this is also where you're going to go to look up these vendors. So in this case, where's my document? This is waiting for screen, but you can see my screen though, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So we take the cage code 72914 or a 0ZTJ5 and simply pop it in that system, literally. There we go.
We're just where it says cage are done right there, huh?
Yep. Cage are done's right there. So 72914, 72914. Grimm's Aerospace Company. These guys have sold to this particular agency at a minimum of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 times.
Oh.
All right, that's who they are. You click the details link. It'll take you in, and you can see that Nancy Luna is the point of contact. There's her phone number. That's their address, blah, blah, blah. Now, can you buy from Grimes and sell directly to the government? Possibly. All right, I mean, it's an option. Unless Nancy's been doing this long enough that she knows there are people like you that want to sell her product directly, and she's already selling to the government. She's going to want to cut you out of the picture and keep the profits for herself. Now, that might not be possible for her because they might not any longer be a small business. They might be a large company now, and they're not allowed to bid on these. So you can take her DUNS number.
That's my next thing. I mean, how like stuff like this, how do we keep from getting like outbid by people like this or whatever? It's just part of it.
Well, I mean, it's a dog eat dog world. Don't be a dog, be a lion. Let the dogs eat each other. You know, this is how I go about it. I mean, they've done $109 million in business. All right, more than likely they're not a small business and they can't bid on it. But if they've done $109 million, they probably have a network of suppliers that they're already working with. So I wouldn't start here. You know what I mean? I would start somewhere else and see if you can get this from someone else who can't sell to the government. But this is how you handle it if you can. All right. Let's say they're not a small business. All right. And if they're not a small business, they can't bid on it. They may have a network of suppliers they've already worked with that are, already in cahoots, or they may not. But this is the way I would handle it. I would go after a different supplier first, maybe someone who's not registered with the government, because then they can't compete. Problem solved. Or, and you'll hear me say this in my videos, don't ever, 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 ever lie to the government. Okay? If the government asks you something, tell them the truth. If you make a mistake, be honest. But your suppliers and your subcontractors, if you need to, lie through your freaking teeth, okay? Because they'll do the same to you. They'll cut you out in a heartbeat to make to keep the profits, all right? So the way I would handle something like this, if I needed to call Grimes, and if Grimes and the other guy was the only place I could get this from, I would call Miss Nancy, and I'd say, hi, Miss Nancy. My name's John Wayne, USFCR. I'd take a different approach. Normally I say, hey, Nancy, it's John Wayne, to make them think that they might know me, and it takes that barrier down right up front that I'm a telemarketer, you know. Hey, Nancy, it's John Wayne. How you doing? Oh, I'm doing good, John Wayne. Like, I should know you, but I don't remember you. Now I feel embarrassed, kind of thing. And I'd say, listen, I've got, I talked to you about those NSNs. I never talked to her in my life. I've got a client over in Africa, and they need 30,000 of those. Can you get that kind of quantity? Oh, of course I can. What? I own her already. I've talked to her 5 seconds, and I own her because of I'm gonna play on her greed. I'm gonna play on her greed and her pride. Nancy, I need 50,000 of those. Can you get that? Oh yeah, I can get that. Okay. Well, I've got another deal that I'm working that I need quicker. Okay, this 50,000 piece deal is probably going to be about a month out. But meanwhile, I need 80 of those in the next 2 weeks. Can you do that? And I can send it to my client, and they can, because they want 80 of them just to send them to all their suppliers and make sure they're the right ones. Okay. Meanwhile, the government wants to buy 87. So I'm not going to tell her where they're going. It's none of her business, because they will ask you, well, what zip code are we shipping these to? They're trying to shop you. They're trying to find out who you're selling to so they can cut you out of the picture.
Oh, so they can just deal with them right direct, huh?
Exactly. So you're following where I'm going with this, right? You got to play on her greed and her pride first to get her to give you a price. Because if you just call her up and say, the government's buying 88 of these, and if you call her up and say, yeah, could you give me a price on 88 of these? Well, where are they going? They're going to be going to Texas. She's putting 2 and 2 together. She already knows that the VA in Austin is buying 88 of these next month. She's going to cut you out of the picture. All right?
Gotcha.
So
I've contacted these guys, actually.
You are? Okay. Well, see, I mean, you might already have a relationship, and this is not a big deal. But I'm saying in a case where you don't have a relationship, these dog-eat-dog world, they're going to try and cut you out of the picture. So you got to stop them up front. And that's why if you take this approach, some people tell me, well, John Wayne, I'm just not that kind of person. I can't lie. Okay, I understand that. But they're going to lie to you. So if you're going to be in business, you better learn to be a lion, not a dog. Don't be a dog in a dog-eat-dog world. Be a lion. When I say that, I'm saying ironically, yes, lie to your suppliers and your distributors if you have to. Because I guarantee you, I could call Nancy and get a quote out of her in 2 minutes, and she would bend over backwards to help me and never know that I was selling to the government. Because what I'll do is I'll ask her, I'll say, they want 8,000, but they need 80 for now, so they can send them to their distributors and make sure it's the right one. I got to get it approved before they'll purchase the 80,000. All right, so if you could give me a quote on 80, that'd be great. That'd be great, right? And she's going to she'll give you a quote on 80. Now, when you win the contract, once you have the award ID letter, and it's a good idea to get at least a couple of suppliers that can back this up, so if Nancy decides to just totally screw you over and not supply you, you still have a couple of more suppliers that can fill it.
How do I find more suppliers? Just look on the internet?
Well, you've already got 2 cage codes just on the document that the purchasing agent's given you. You got the OZTJ5 guys, too. And then, yes, to answer your question, if you want to find more suppliers, take that NSN number. Take that NSN number and Google it, and you'll find 6 more suppliers.
Okay. And so when I'm telling her that...
Can you hold on just a second?
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
This is John. I'm on the other line. Could I take your name and number and call you back? Can you hear me now? Yes, sir. I'm on another line. Can I take your name and number and call you right back? You got it, sir. I will call you back here in about a half an hour. Thank you. Bye-bye. Sorry about that. I usually hand my phone to somebody else, but everybody's busy. So, and that's another thing too. I'll teach you anything I know. One simple rule I have: always answer your phone. Always. I know people get a lot of calls from telemarketers, and it's a pain. But always answer your phone. When you get a phone call from a telemarketer, save that number in your phone under scam, and don't ever answer it again. But if the government ever calls you and it goes to voicemail, more than likely they're going to call the next guy on the list, and you just lost.
Understand.
Right.
Understand. So
So you can search this NSN on Google and probably find 10 suppliers that carry this NSN. And if you do them all the same, I mean, some of these suppliers communicate. All right, it's the good old boys network, especially on NSNs, because the government buys a lot of NSNs. That's why they have an NSN number assigned. So you call 3 or 4 suppliers and do just like I told you. They're going to give you a quote, and some of them are going to communicate. Hey, did you get a phone call from so and so? Yeah, he's got 80,000. That's all right. As long as you got 3 or 4 suppliers, you've always got someone to fall back on.
So I can just I don't have to tell them what they're going until I actually win the contract.
Never tell them. If you have to, tell them it's going to another state, 2 or 3 states past where it's going. If they say, well, I need to know what state it's going to give you a freight quote. Okay, then if it's, if the deal was in Texas, I'd say it's going to Nevada or California. Because if they give you if they give you a freight quote to California, it's going to be more than what you're going to actually be charged. So that's just more profit.
So say after I do win this, or whatever, theoretically, how do I just have them ship it directly there? Then they're going to know afterward, right?
Sure,
You know what I mean?
but you've already won it. It's too late by then. Who cares? Then it's up to who wants to fill this. Let me tell you a quick scenario. I have a client. She only did 80,000 in revenues the year before. She rented tents and chairs and tablecloths and silverware and dishes for events, mostly weddings. She did 80,000 in revenues the year before. She got a phone call from FEMA. We got her registered, and I was training her. She got a phone call from FEMA. This was during Sandy, Hurricane Sandy in New Jersey. She got a phone call from FEMA saying, we need a quote on tarps. We see on your website that you have access to this tarp. We need this tarp to cover buildings to keep them from getting rained on until we get around to hiring contractors to do the roof repairs. And she said, yes, I do have access to that tarp. And they were like, well, we need, I don't even remember how many, 100,000 or something ridiculous, right? It wasn't that many. Anyway, long story short, she said, yes, I can get those. This is my price, blah, blah, blah. FEMA called back and they're like, okay, you're hired. Here's the award ID. They gave her an award ID, a 5-year IDIQ for these tarps. She called me up ecstatic. She was so happy. I won the contract, John Wayne. Yay. And we're like, yay. And then she called me back 10 minutes later, crying her eyes out, like freaking out. They want me to ship 10,000. I don't have the money to buy 10,000, and my supplier's not going to give me net 30. Now I'm screwed. And I was like, no, you're not. Take a deep breath. Number one, stop crying. Take a deep breath. I got this, okay? I said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to call your supplier. I don't remember if it was 100 or 1,000. It's been forever. But I said, order, I think it was 1,000. Order 1,000. You can afford that, right? Put it on your credit card and ship that to the government. She goes, I already asked. The purchasing agent said no, and he got upset with me. He wants 10,000 and nothing less. I said, understand. Listen to what I'm saying. Order 1,000. Send your supplier the award ID number. Number one, right off the bat, you won it. You have the award ID letter. Send that to your supplier and show him that you've won the contract. Because he can't undercut you now. He can't, he can not supply you and screw you over, but he can't sell directly. You've already won the contract. So go to your supplier, send them the award ID number, order 1,000, have them ship it directly to the government. And she's like, okay, but they already told me I couldn't send less than whatever. Just do what I'm saying. So when the government gets your shipment, they're going to call you and they might be upset that they told you they needed 10,000 and you only sent 1,000. Tell them, yes, I did that on purpose because I want you guys to make sure it's the right tarp before I send all 10,000, and be nice about it, So the government called her and said, you know what, we wanted 10,000, we only got 1,000. She said, I know, I did it because I want to make sure you guys got the right tarp, and I'll send the other 9,000 once you approve them. And of course they came back and said, yes, this is the right tarp. Thank you for thinking of us and sending us a sample first. They were appreciative of that. So then I said, go back to your supplier now and tell them you need them to ship another 9,000, but you've got another supplier who will do it for a nickel less, and they'll give you net 60. What do you think her supplier did?
Went for?
He gave her 10 cents off and gave her net 90.
Hmm.
Agreed. she played on his greed and he bid it hook, line, and sinker. It's a dog-eat-dog world, man. These guys are going to play you. So if you play the game, you can control them. If you win the contract, you own the business. It's your deal. You run the show. All you got to do is know how to work these guys. All right?
Gotcha.
Just make sure you always get multiple quotes from multiple suppliers. So if one guy decides you're being too cocky, you got somebody to fall back on.
Gotcha.
All right?
Gotcha. So say for instance, if I win something like this and I need to come up with like 50,000 up front or something like that, or just some odd number like maybe 15,000. Is there any way I can borrow against that? You like
Yes.
take that? Like,
Yes.
just take that to like the approval letters and hey, this is what I've won this. This is guaranteed, whatever. And I'm
You come to me. You come to me. When you run it, the best thing to do when you've got a contract that you know you want to bid on and try and win, and you know you don't have the backing, you come to me before you bid on it, which I would pray that you do anyway. I want to work with you and help you with your bids, proposals, solicitations. So always come to me first with anything. But just tell me, hey, John Wayne, this one's perfect. This is in my wheelhouse. These guys are across the street. I can do this, no problem, but I don't have the capital. I have people that'll finance contracts all day long. I have companies that'll factor your invoices. There's plenty of options.
Okay.
I just try not to surprise me at the last minute like she did, because then we gotta work it. We gotta utilize our exactly. We're not doing anything illegal. All right. I will never ever do anything illegal, especially when it comes to the federal government, because it's not the federal government that's going to come down on you with a hammer. It's one of your competitors that you beat out. You won the contract and they're pissed. They're going to go to the GAO. They're going to dig into your background and your past and see what they can do.
All right, so yeah, that helps me a lot, because this particular thing they want 20 of these things, and they're $4,000 a piece. And so I actually called these people, the Grime or that Honeywell people that we're talking about, and I didn't tell them what I was going to. I just said, hey, I need 20 of these, yada 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 yada, and they're like, okay, and they gave me a bid right there. So I didn't tell them.
Nice. See, sometimes it's that simple. Sometimes they'll just give you a quote, but they might also give you a quote that's exaggerant. All right, if they've already got a supply chain that they're working with, they already got a distributors network, they might have a network of distributors and they're getting kickbacks. You never know what's going on. So never assume anything. Assume the worst. Go for the best.
Gotcha. So my next question is, I don't know how to submit this bid to. Like, I'm looking at this, I don't know where to submit it to on here. I was looking, I don't know.
Okay, well, that's instructions to offer, but you're clear on how brokering or subcontracting, even on NSNs, can still be profitable.
Yeah, you opened my eyes on that one.
You look, I brokered in the 80s and 90s, hard drives and memory and stuff, and RAM and all that back when it was popular. Again, dog eat dog world. We were happy if we got 5% markup, and we were happy if there was less than 15 bidders, because sometimes there was 30 or 40 bidders, like you'll see on state contracts. There's 40, 50, 60 bidders on state contracts sometimes. But in this arena, you're rarely going to see more than 3 offers, especially on simplified acquisition. Sometimes there's only one. Go to FPDS, search that NSN number.
Where did you go? FPDS?
FPDS, Federal Procurement Data System. And that, let's see here. I can't copy it, so I've got to physically. It is 011253773/6220. You might not need the 6220. We're going to find out.
And it was funny because the lady up there that we know, the procurement officer, she said that all these have gone no bid so far. They've been like no bid forever. So I don't know. So maybe they can't bid on it no more. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you saw they're $100 million company, so they might not be a small business. They might not be able to bid directly, in which case they don't have a distribution network. They're happy that you called them. I can tell you a prime example. Herb with Pyramid. Herb's a guy that saw my videos and decided he wanted a broker, right? Called me up. How do I do this? Blah, blah, blah. He called on a few of these and a lot of the suppliers. He wasn't doing it. You know, he didn't even ask how to do it. He was just calling suppliers saying, I need 88 of these to Texas. They know where it's going. They either give him an exaggerant quote. They give him a quote that's 8 times more than the product's worth. So he'll bid and be out of the picture. Or they'll tell you, we're already bidding on this, or we have a distribution network that's bidding on this, so you're wasting your time with us. Or they won't tell you anything, and they'll give you a quote. Well, he called a few of those and was getting frustrated. He called on a petroleum contract, and the supplier he called told him that it was X number of blah, 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 and it was going to another state. He did what I told him, but he still put 2 and 2 together and said, are you sure this isn't going to Tinkler? And he's like, how did you figure it out? You know, so I guess you're going to cut me out of the picture now and screw me and darn it. He didn't say darn it, but, you know, and the supplier goes, no, actually, we've held this contract for the last 10 years, but we're no longer a small business. So we can't bid on it directly anymore, and we don't have a distribution network. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to give you a quote that's better than what we gave the government last year, so you can still mark it up and make a profit. And we're going to do this contract through you. We're going to use you as our middleman. And they gave him the contract. And this is 4 years ago. This is a 5-year IDIQ. All he does is invoice every month and collect a check. Does he have to make sure his supplier goes out and delivers? Of course. But they're going to do it because they want to keep the work. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
All right.
This FPDS, I have to register for this, right?
No, do not register with FPDS. Never. No. Don't register with anything without asking me first. How about that?
It's asking me to register for it there.
Who?
That's this site there, the FPDS, the site you're on there, the FPDS.
This is for government purchasing agents to upload awards. So if you register in here, you're telling this system that you're a government purchasing agent.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not good. That alone could get you in deep trouble. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, just kidding.
Let's go back to square one right here.
Okay, bud.
And you'll hear me say this every day. Ask me before you sign up or pay for anything. And you just did. You asked me first. Good job. Always check with me first. Don't sign up. Don't pay. Don't do anything without checking with me first. Because that one right there, I've actually had people do this. Well, I signed up for it. Why did you do that? Well, because I thought, don't think. You know, this is for purchasing agents to log in and post contracts that they've awarded. So if you register with FPDS, you're telling the government that you're the government, and you're not, and that's not good.
Okay, I will do that. Gotcha.
Good call. But you did ask me first. That's all I ask. All right, 253. That's not a 2. 3773. So we're going to try that first. That didn't work. So we're going to add on 6220. That didn't work. So we're going to take out the slash. That didn't work. So we're going to add an NS in. That didn't work. All right. So now we're going to go, instead of taking that route, we're going to Google that NSN. Okay, so these are all suppliers that carry that NSN.
Okay.
So if you work this system right and play these suppliers against each other, get 3 or 4 quotes from different suppliers, you own this, especially if it's not put out for bid, if it's done as a simplified acquisition. And you control, you're in charge of the ball game.
And this is how I should do everything I pretty much bid on, huh? Just kind of.
The stuff that I'm telling you right now, These are secrets that I had to learn the hard way back in the late 80s and early 90s when I brokered. And this is gold. But I'm telling you, not many people, this isn't really common sense. I mean, I've changed your whole aspect of doing business with the government in the last half an hour, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why I wanted the one-on-one, because it was you know what I mean. It's just this is good stuff.
It's gold. If you work this system right, the opportunities are limitless. Because right now, and this is mind-boggling, but it's just facts. Right now, you have less competition in this system, and more reason for the government to hire you as a small business or minority or woman or veteran 8A hub zone than ever in the history of, as far as I've seen, the research I've done. You have more opportunities and less competition ever in the history of our existence on this planet since the government started procuring back in, 17 whatever. There's less competition. In the old CCR 5 years ago, there was 650,000 small businesses. In the new SAM, there's only about 160,000 that are active.
Gotcha.
Right? And out of those, we've done 80,000 SAM registrations. So I can tell you that at least half of those guys are compliant statistically. The other half might not be compliant. Or without saying this and sounding like I have a big head or I'm conceited, because I'm not. I'm seriously not conceited. But the other half might not have someone like me that's helping them, that's giving them this knowledge and this data. So statistically, they're going to fail. They're going to submit bids improperly or wrong or not at all, or they're not registered properly and they don't know it because they're active but they're not compliant. I mean, there's so many variables that will make them fail, that gives you benefit over them. And just the simple fact that you have less than a fifth of the competition that you did 5 years ago. What you need to do is don't overthink this and run with it. Get on my group training every chance you get with something to bid on, and let me help you and make this clarity, make this make more sense. Because the more bids you submit, the more you're going to win, brother.
I got you.
Any other questions?
No. Back to that. To the bid. I just want to know why did it say on there where to send the information to get a hold of them? You know what I mean on the sheet.
Sure.
Email it.
Okay, that's what's called instructions to offerer. So what we're going to do is, why is it not letting me click? What did I open here? Let's see.
And that will be my last question, but I appreciate it, John. I really do.
Not a problem, man. That's what I'm here for. I got something's not letting me
go back.
Something's open and it's preventing me from. Oh, the reminder thing popped up. There we go. Come on now. There we go. Okay. I get so excited with this stuff that I can't keep up with myself sometimes.
Yeah, I just want to just bid on as much stuff as I can, and I guess is there. I remember hearing you say in one of your videos you can sell stuff to the government, like as in just like a lot of random things or something like that. I remember hearing.
I mean, basically what I'm teaching you right now is how to broker, is how to sell anything you get your hands on. I mean, the more stuff you throw at the wall, the more that's going to stick. And
gotcha.
If this wasn't a conflict of interest, I'd be doing it myself.
Gotcha. Understand.
We got more purchasing agents using our AFPDS right now than we do clients, because that's how great the system is that purchasing agents even love it. So for me to stop what I'm doing right now and become a broker would be a conflict of interest. I've talked to my attorney about this until I'm blue in the face. I would have to quit working here, number one. I would have to take my videos down. He says take them down. I'm like, I'll just delete them because I don't want to have any association with anything government related for at least 2 years. He's saying 3, but I think I could get by with 2. So I'll go deliver pizzas or whatever, something stupid for 2 years. And then I could come back. It'd be no conflict of interest. I have no connections. I don't have any purchasing agents that I'm helping. I could come back and broker. And if it wasn't for you know, child support and just responsibilities right now, I'd already be delivering pizzas. But
understand.
At least I can show people like you that are intelligent and driven and not afraid to work how to do this. And I'll help one of you guys win a big one, and one of you guys will make me an offer I can't refuse, you know?
You know, that's what I'm hoping for. I want to do this full time. You know what I mean?
Yep. Or at least, you know, if you win a big one, come out and take me to dinner and give me a Christmas bonus.
I absolutely will, brother. You got it. You got my promise on that one.
On your standard form, you're going to do a search for the word instructions.
How do I do that? How do I?
You still see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me do this.
Let me get to that. I'm gonna get to that right quick so I can do this because I'm gonna get right to you, buddy.
Let me do this.
Oh, okay. Where it says search, huh? I think I see. Mine says search.